Okay, so here we are at a Fast and Furious Super Cars. This one's got some problems. Yeah, I don't think that's supposed to do that at all. Here, let's check this one. Oh, well, look at the head. I mean, it doesn't move at all. So yeah, I think we got problems. Let's open this up, see what's in there, see what's going on, see what we can do. All right, so we got this open, but this is not really telling us much, although I can move a lot of things here. But to me, it almost looks like it is more of, not that it's broken or not that something's broken. I feel like maybe some nuts have fallen apart or become undone and everything is loose. So we need to take this panel apart some more. So I mean, it's probably putting it back up and removing all the other stuff around it so we can get to the plastic, or remove the plastic and get to the back side of here. So let's take that off. It'll be fun. All right, so I think I may have jumped the gun a little bit here. So here is the steering assembly from out of the game. As you can see, I literally broke this bracket over here. This bracket is broken. I need to replace it. So I called them up, see if I can get another one, but unfortunately they don't have this bracket in stock, and it's not going to be in stock anytime soon. So I'm kind of being forced to buy the whole entire assembly, which I guess is fine. But I'm going to take this down to maintenance and see if I can get them to weld it, or if it is repairable. I don't think it is, but I don't weld. So I'm going to let a welder tell me that it can't be welded. So let's see what they can do. Sorry for jumping the gun here. All right, so maintenance couldn't fix it. They said this is not going to weld correctly. It being cast aluminum instead of poured aluminum. If it was poured aluminum, it'd be a little bit different story. They could probably weld it, but because it's cast aluminum, if they even try to weld it, it'll probably just melt and break a little later within the same day, possibly. At least that's what they told me. Not a welder, so unfortunately, Roth Rails does not have this part in stock, so I'm going to be forced to purchase the whole entire assembly. That's fine. I need my game up and running, so whatever it is that I got to do to get it working, I'm going to do it. So that's going to have to be replaced. We're going to close this all up, put it back together, and just kind of cover the hole with a piece of cardboard, so that way people can't put their hands in there, pull cables, or cut themselves or anything like that. So, well, let's go ahead and close this up and order some parts. All right, so part is on order. Everything is back together. I went ahead and put just a piece of cardboard on there, taped it all up, just to cover the hole, to prevent anyone from sticking their hands in there or fingers or whatever they want. I'd hate to open that up and find a burger in there or, or a piece of pizza or something like that. So as soon as the part gets here, we'll slap that new button in there and get this game back up and running. Until then, we wait. All right, so we're going to take this thing apart. I already started kind of taking it apart. I removed the potentiometer. That goes actually right here, actually sticks in there. And then this part over here fits into this screw right there, and it gets held in there. And of course, the flat part goes where the set screw is. I already removed the set screw, so always make sure that that flat part is where this hole is. So that's where the set screw is going to go, and that's where it's going to hold in place. Anyways, so we're going to get that off. Go ahead and put a wrench on this side, put a wrench on this side, and we're going to take this nut off, and then hopefully we can slide this gear off, and then hopefully slide the rest of it out. And then when the part gets here, we'll be ready to replace it. So let's just continue taking things off. I also noticed one other thing that I probably have to call them and reorder it and just order it is my little gear down there is smooth. It's supposed to have teeth just like this. That's the force feedback gear. When this turns, it's supposed to give you that sensation that the wheel is actually grabbing or something like that. So with that being bald right like that, it won't give you that feeling. You might feel it a little bit, but it won't be as good as it should be. So we'll have to replace that. So let's just continue taking things apart, so that way we can have it ready for when the part comes in. All right, got it apart. This was very easy. This just slid out as soon as I removed that nut. This nut right here, from here, this slid out. There is a key there, so don't lose that key. That key will keep everything in place. It'll go in that little slot there, and it'll sit in where the heck is it? That little channel right there. That's what locks everything in place. Anyway, so I was able to pull it out. I slid it out this way, that way. The bearing did fall out. There is this bearing on this side. There's another bearing on this side. You're going to reuse those. I'm not sure if the new plate is going to come with new bearings. I don't know. So I'm going to try to not damage these at all. They still feel pretty good. They feel nice. They don't feel messed up. The inner sleeve for it goes on the inside. So we're going to reuse these. So try not to damage them. So right now everything is taken apart. I just need to get that part and replace this, and it should be good to go. I'm also going to go ahead and get a new gear, as you can see right there. Let me see if I can get a little closer. That gear is smooth like a baby's bottom. Of course, the belt also became a little smooth itself. Let me back up a little bit here. You can see where it's got plenty of teeth over here, and all of a sudden, boom, it's all smooth. Yeah. We need a new belt, and we need a new gear. So, let's order it. Hopefully the other stuff didn't ship out yet. Oh boy. Alright, so we got a couple parts in, or actually just one part in. I got the X bracket. Now, I did call them to see about getting this part, and they did tell me that they didn't have this part in stock. They were correct. They did not have this part in stock, and I was about to purchase the whole entire assembly. But then they were wrong about their stock, and they said they were out of stock of the whole assembly, and they were able to find some of the X brackets. So they found one and shipped it. So this is really all I needed. I really did not need to buy the whole entire thing. Buying this is much less expensive than purchasing the whole entire unit. So yeah, if you can fix the part that's broken, do so. Otherwise, you will be paying a premium for the whole entire assembly. Okay, so we're still waiting on the gear, and we're still waiting on my belt. So I really can't put it together right now. I can if I want to, but I would just be doing double work installing everything. The game will work even if I were to install it with the bad belt and the bad gear. Your steering would just be a little sloppy. But it will work. So I'd rather just wait till I get everything. I'm gonna take the time and clean the bearings and stuff like that. Clean the sleeves, so that way when I put everything back into here, it's nice and clean. This is the old one. You can see where it broke. So, but yeah, we're just gonna go ahead and clean everything, get it ready, and just wait for the rest of our parts to come in, and then we'll slap everything together. All right? Gotta wait. All right, so we got our parts finally. All right, so just so you can see how it's got nice teeth, and see how that one has nothing. It's real nice and smooth. Yeah, it's supposed to look like this. This is what makes the whole force feedback work. And of course, the belt itself. That's the way it's supposed to look, not smooth like this, and then maybe it gets bumpy and then smooth around. That bad cable, bad gear. So we're gonna go ahead and replace this. So you're gonna have to, I mean, maybe you can remove this piece right here and be able to slide this out without having to remove the whole entire motor from this bracket. I'm gonna try that. If I can do it, great. If not, I'll have to remove the motor from this bracket. It's just, these two screws are here and two screws on the other side, and it should come right off, and I should be able to get my hands in there with no problem. But I think I can do it by just removing this and just kind of sticking my hands in there and doing what I need to do. So let's get started and get this bad boy back together and back on the game. All right, so I got this part together, the actual steering wheel part. So it looks like this, just not broken. So a bearing's gonna go on this side, a bearing's gonna go on this side, and then in the middle you're gonna need to have that tube. That tube is already in here. I'm sorry I didn't show you putting that together. I'm not gonna take this apart because I kind of had to hammer the bearings back in. I drilled a small little hole so I could help me get the bearing in there like that. And then I just sort of hammered to the top and sunk the bearing in. I did the same thing on that side, just kind of flipped it over and, you know, hammered it in. But yeah, I got it all together. I can pull it out, but I don't really want to do that because I don't want that sleeve on the inside to slide or move, and then I'm gonna have a hard time putting this back in. I'm not saying I can't do it, I just would prefer not to deal with it. So this part is done. I can leave that part alone, and now I can work on the actual motor part and get that gear working. Actually, I think I'm just gonna slap the X part back on, and maybe even put on the other gear part of it. So at least I just have that done and over with, and then just finish up the motor. So let's yeah, let's go ahead and put that back together. Why not? All right, so I changed my mind. I didn't slap that bad boy on. I decided to go ahead and try to take this piece off right here. So yeah, I removed the tensioner out of the way, thinking maybe I could get that out, and I feel like I could. I removed the set screws. Problem is that this is so stuck on there, I'm gonna have a hard time getting it off. So I'm kind of being forced to remove it off the bracket. So instead of removing these screws underneath here, find yourself a screwdriver. There's holes here. You know, it's been a while since I've done a force feedback, you know, so there's holes in here. You take these screws out from the bottom and then just take this top bracket off, and then finding yourself a puller to get this off, you know, because that bad boy is on there. So let me finish getting this off so I can try to fight with that gear to remove it. I don't know, might have to take it to the shop and have them do it for me. Let's see what we can do. All right, so I had to take this bad boy down to maintenance and see if I can get them to help me get it off. And yeah, oh yeah, they got it off for me. They used a big pry bar. They put it underneath there, and I mean, I'm talking about it was a pretty big pry bar, and they just sort of used a little force, more force than what I wanted to, but they got it off. That was it. Cleaned up the shaft a little bit. Yeah, it was a little hard to slip the new one on there. I did use a socket. Sorry, I put it away. Grab my socket here. I did use a socket to put up on top to help me hammer it down, because I don't want to hammer on the actual gear itself and bend that, because that looks like soft metal. Looks like just aluminum anyways. So I used that to, and I made it short so it sits on the top to hammer it down low enough so I can, you know, screw in the set screws. And of course, you have to make sure that the set screws are lined up correctly on the flat spots. There are 2 flat spots. Make sure those are there. I'm sure it'll be okay if you land it on this side, but try to land on the flat spots. Really, that's where it goes. Worst case scenario is it slips if you have it over here and you don't have the set screws on. They're good. It slips and it lands into this flat spot right here, and maybe it'll start working again, but then it might even slip again until you retighten these bad boys. So just make sure the set screws are on the flat spot. Plus headaches. All right, so we got this bad boy on. So let's go ahead and start putting everything back together. We'll slap this bad boy back up here, put that together, put the tensioner back on, and just start putting everything back together and get it back on the game. So let's continue on. All right, so I went ahead and finished putting everything on here. So I also went ahead and loosened these nuts right here, because this is gonna have to be able to move freely when you're ready to tighten the belt. So this is this plate right here. That's the tightener, and the nut in the back here. As that nut tightens, it's gonna pull this in, and it's gonna make this whole thing kind of move. See if I can move with one hand. And it will tighten the belt. And then you crank these bad boys back down, and it should lock everything in place. This should be all right. That should be all right to be locked in place as soon as it's tight and these are done. So, you know, there's no need to lock this down. As soon as it's there, it's done. So yeah, so loosen these bad boys so that way you have them ready. You probably will have to tighten those on the game, or maybe here, you know, get it over with. Yeah, actually I think here is fine. All right, so let's finish up and get this bad boy together and get it on the game. All right, get the actual steering part in, steering column, steering shaft, whatever you want to call it. This is not tightened yet. I haven't tightened it with an actual tool. It's just hand tightened. But everything is there. Everything's put together. Now all that's left to do is to actually put this part on. And the key, I hope you haven't lost this part. Man, sorry about that tongue tying there. It is going to go right there in that little spot that you see right there. And then, of course, that will follow through. As soon as you put it in there, it should all slide in together. Now, I cleaned it up real good, so that way I won't have a hard time putting it together. Just a little 3-1 in oil, kind of keep things lubricated. And then, of course, I'm going to wipe off all the excess. So let's go ahead and put the key in and then put this in. Just in case you didn't know, it's not going to go this way. It's going to go this way because you have to line it up with your actual gear that you have there. So that's the whole key there. I might have to go back in there and adjust that a little lower. I don't know. I hope not. I think I pretty much lined it up pretty good by eye, but you know what? I'm only human. So let's put it together and hopefully everything lands right on spot. All right, I just wanted to show you before I tighten everything down. It's on. So you got the lobe, hits this side. I'm sorry, my camera action is horrible today. You got the lobe that hits this side, you got the lobe that hits that side. Obviously it's not tight, so I gotta tighten everything. I do see a lot of excess 3-in-1 oil. Don't worry, I will wipe that off. I do not want a lot of oil in here going all over the place. So I think that I'm gonna line up pretty good. As soon as I tighten everything, it should line up pretty nice. I might have to go a hair down a little bit on that gear down there, maybe. I don't think I can go any more this way. So I might have to knock that one down just a little bit more. Not a big deal. Let's go ahead and tighten this and get the belt on. Tighten it up and then go slap it in the game. Get this game up for the weekend. So let's hurry up. All right, so the belt is on. Everything looks good. Everything is tight, minus the motor. I still need to actually tighten the belt tensioner and lock everything down, but I just wanted to show you. You can either remove the tensioner, that little tensioner bracket in the front. You can remove that just to kind of get the belt in there. It's not a pain in the butt, but you got to get it in there. So you get it in there, you put it around the small one, and then with the motor being loose, push it forward, which makes the belt super loose. And, put the belt on this side over here first, and then you can slip it on literally without having to do so much work. And then as you tighten this, it will pull this back and it'll put a lot of tension on the belt itself. I'm doing it by hand, so just to kind of show you that you can get it tight. And then if it's, because it's not tight, it's going to push forward. I'm not sure if you've seen it move forward, but now the belt's real nice and loose and stuff like that. So the tensioner will make it tight. And that's it. As soon as that's tight, or as soon as you get it tight enough, you don't have to make this super tight like a car. It's just make it tight enough. That's all you need to do. Just make it tight enough. I don't know how to explain it. I don't know how to reference it as in, half an inch. It's not like motorcycles. It's not like a belt in a car. Just make sure that it's tight, but not, Godzilla tight or King Kong tight, whatever it is you want to call it. Don't over tighten it. All right. So let's go ahead and tighten things down and get it back in the game. All right. I think it's tight enough. Doesn't feel super tight when I do this. Remember, this steering wheel is only going, from one side to the other. It's not going completely around in the full circle. So it's not going to be, it's not going to have a lot of damage being done to it by just spinning or just having this tight. I don't know. It's hard to explain it, I guess. It's tight enough. I still have some flex to it. If I had to put some kind of number on there, maybe 1/4 of an inch. Not much. I want it tight enough where it won't fall off. I can move it, So I know it's not that tight, but I can't pull it off. I can't pull the belt off, and that's exactly what I want. I don't want the belt to come off. And this will never be free riding, you know, for it to actually pop off. It just won't. So it's fine. All right, so let's go ahead and lock the motor down. These bolts over here. And go ahead and bring it to the game and slap it in there and get the game back up and running. So let's finish. We're almost there. All right, so here we are back at the game. I went ahead and opened everything. I might have taken a little bit more apart than what I should have. But, yep, we're going to put the motor back in. Put the potentiometer back in. I hate saying that word sometimes. Plug it in, get everything mounted, and get it working. So let's go ahead and start mounting this bad boy in. Everything's already tight, so we don't need to do anything. We just need to literally just bolt it back into the game, put it back together, and make it work. So let's get this going. All right, so I'm just about almost there. We just got to install the potentiometer. It's gonna slip in between this little screw and washer there, and then of course the potentiometer piece will go into this hole right here. The set screws right there. So set screws here, so you want to make sure that flat spot is on that side. You could center everything right here, but the problem with doing it that way is when you put everything together, you can't really put your Allen key in there to tighten the set screw down. So I like to turn it this way, which make sure you turn your potentiometer that way, so that when you put it in, it's on the flat side and everything goes together. As long as it's not hanging up on something, you can slip it all together, and then that's it. You'll tighten that bad boy down, and then tighten that bad boy down, and then you plug this bad boy back together into that one, and then plug the motor back in, and then slap the steering wheel back in, or actually put everything back together. Why am I saying it? Let's do it. Let's finish it up. All right, one thing I want you to know when you're connecting this back together, notice that there is one leg missing. See, you see three legs there instead of four. So if you look at here, you have one little hole here that is blocked. So that should tell you how to connect it back together. That way you don't do it the wrong way. I mean, sometimes you can force it in there, and then you're just going to have a whole world of trouble if you force things together. So make sure you connect it the correct way, and it only fits one way. This one over here, same thing, it only fits one way. The way it is, the way the housing is, connects one way. But with this one, it's a little different. If you force it enough, you can connect it incorrectly. So make sure you look at it and just plug it in the correct spot, and you should be good to go. All right, so we're almost done here. Let's just finish putting everything together, and then we can put the steering wheel back on and calibrate it and give it a test. Let's finish up. Okay, so everything's been put back together. Everything is bolted, everything is screwed. All we got to do is put the steering wheel on and then put the cap on, and then we're good to go. I don't know if it makes a difference, but what I did is I actually right, this little line right here is, I guess, halfway point. So if I take this and go this way, it'll stop at the same point it would when it goes this way. Does that make a difference? I really don't have no idea, but that's the way I'm doing it. Regardless, I'm doing it that way. So, all right, well, let's put the steering wheel on, put the cover on. We'll probably have to give it a good calibration and then give it a test. So, we're almost done. All right, so we got everything back together. I did have to open up the other one just to look at it, just because I couldn't remember how the potentiometer itself went, whether the legs were going the other way or this way or that way. Wasn't sure. It's not that you have to zero these out to zero. It just has to be able to calibrate itself from a small to a large amount. I'll show you what I mean when I calibrate it here. So let's go to the calibration. So right now it's just going to tell you to turn left and then turn right, and then you can see the currents and the match right there. See how it says about 560 or whatever. You know, as soon as you hit start, it's going to recognize it's 601 right there. And then when you go the other way, it's going to be a higher number. That's fine. As long as that number is way higher than the 601, you're golden. Press that, then you hit the gas. follow the rest of the directions, and then you can get out of here. This part does take a little bit long, so we're just gonna go ahead and come back to this, so that way you don't have to watch me rebooting this thing. So I'll be back. All right, so if you don't know what force feedback is the feeling, the sensation that you're having like a real steering wheel type thing. So I'm trying to turn to get to manual, and I can feel the steering wheel wanting to turn the other way on its own. So that's what it's supposed to do. So it's much tighter. Let's just pick something. I'll show you what I mean when your force feedback is working. I don't care. Yeah. Let's go. Hit the tunes. Start the game. Or look at the steering wheel. See how the steering wheel just moved on its own? That's a force feedback working. That's exactly what it's supposed to be doing. It's supposed to be fighting you the other way. So when you're trying to turn, everything feels nice and tight. And that's the force feedback. And that's it. Everything's working, everything's back up, game is good to go, everything's tight. And that's it. I guess if you have the time, fix that one, because I think that one's broken. I don't even think it has a belt, so got to put a belt back on that one. So now we're done with this one, we can move on to the next one. Hey, thanks for watching.